Welcome back to the corner, ladies and gentlemen. I am the DM as always, and today I didn't think we'd be talking about Concord ever again. I'm going to be honest. I had more or less kind of closed the book on Concord and just kind of ignored it. And then this video popped up in my feed from Sungrand Studios. Now you might remember them. I covered a few of their videos. This guy is absolutely awesome. I've watched a lot of his videos. If you're not subscribed to him, go subscribe to him. But before we get into the video, I want to look at one of the articles that he has linked. Because I called it, ladies and gentlemen. I fucking called it. Am I right or am I right? Of course I'm right. I'm always right. PlayStation closes Firewalk Studios after shutting down Concord. Now, what did I say, ladies and gentlemen, when they announced they were shutting down Concord? I said, and I quote, I give them a few months at most, and Firewalk Studios will be closed. And lo and behold, the Lord saith, and the Lord delivereth. Firewalk Studios has been closed. Now, before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of this article and the video that Sungrand Studios put out, this is not a good thing. I want to make that very clear right from the outset. This is bad. I didn't want to be right. This is bad. Remember, PlayStation, Sony, spent close to $400 billion on Concord. Or no, 400 million. Sorry, $400 million on Concord. 200 million on the actual development of the game, and another 200 million acquiring the studio. And that is relevant. Trust me. Let's get into it, right? So, from Variety, Sony Interactive Entertainment has closed Firewalk Studios. And down here we can see from one of the memos that they released on Tuesday. I know none of this is easy news to hear, particularly with colleagues and friends departing SIE. Both decisions were given serious thought, and ultimately we feel that they are the right ones to strengthen the organization. Neon Koi and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we will work to find replacements for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. Note the key word, some of the impacted. They're not going to try and do it for all of the people that are impacted, just some of the ones that are impacted. Now, keep in mind that Sony has a DEI division. Okay, so the reason why they say some is because if they went and just outright fired the people that are part of the DEI initiative, their DEI consultants, their DEI team would throw a massive hissy fit over the fact that they fired them, despite the fact that those people that should be fired were likely part of the root cause for Concord's failure. Okay, now down here, it says that the decision to shut it down comes just a year and a half after acquiring the studios. So that means that they decided that there was no other possible alternative to this course of action. This $400 million investment is just fucking gone. Okay, remember, they issued full refunds to every single player that bought Concord. So they didn't make anything from it. Even the money that they might have gotten from the sales, all of that's been refunded. So they literally didn't even make anything whatsoever. Down below, Holst said Tuesday, quote, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players, and as a result, we took the game offline. Now, this is obviously talking primarily about the visuals of the game. Okay, obviously some of it has to do with the actual gameplay. The gameplay was god awful. It was slow. It was clunky. There was no real impact or weight to anything that you did in the game. But the majority of this is based off of the visual feedback that players gave, right? Continuing on, he says, we have spent considerable time these past few months exploring our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. Okay, so the best path forward that they could think of after months of deliberation was to just say, fuck it, cut our losses, close the studio, right? Now, he says a little bit more. I'm not going to talk about any of this because all of this is just PR bullshit, okay? He then goes on to say that they want to take those lessons and continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. Now, this is important. I didn't bring up the thing, but let me bring this up real quick. So over here on GameSpot, right, and this was 2 years ago, Sony said that they want to launch 12 live service games by 2025. Wow, ladies and fucking gentlemen, it is now almost November of 2024. There are 2 months left before 2025. So, this is very much in line with what they said 2 years ago. They are heavily focused on live service games. If you make one that flops this hard, they're going to cut ties immediately, okay? And down here, Holst said that their mobile remains a priority growth area for the studio business, okay? Mobile and live service games are synonymous with each other. There are almost no mobile games that are not also live service games that are very scummily priced with everything, including their premium currency, okay? This is absolutely fucking disgusting, and it is very, very bad for people who like Sony titles. It means that going forward, it's not just going to be by 2025 anymore. Live service games are their priority. Full stop. Now, let's go ahead and get into the Sungrand videos. As always, every single link will be in the description.
Sony has shut down Firewalk Studios, the developers who manufactured the 2-week game Concord. As a reminder, this is the studio that openly attacked and insulted their target audience, gamers, my people. To the games industry, I strongly recommend you pay attention. This is what you get when you value pronouns over natural talent, skill, and a genuine understanding of art and video game development. There were good people working at Firewalk who suffered due to hiring malpractices and incompetent leadership. You can keep hiring your staff based on pronouns and identity supremacy, but this is what we call the Concord effect. We can see when games are made by...
By the way, that's just an amazing name, the Concord effect. I love it.
Activists for activists. Money does not make games. People make games. To all the developers and publishers out there who insist on making games focusing on political lecturing.
By the way, I know there are probably some people in his comment section, and there might even be a few in mine, I don't know, but when he said that people make games, not money, I know there are going to be people that say, oh no, money is what makes the game. You're wrong. There are several game engines out there right now that are completely free that can make AAA quality games, okay, for free. So what he's saying here is 100% correct. People make the games, not the money. The money just, all the money does is get people to make the game that you want. That's all it does. It does not make the game.
Instead of letting real developers create good games, try it again. Let's see what happens. Let's see how much investment capital you can lose. If you try really hard, maybe you can top Firewalk's Concord. Today's speech will be short. I develop games for a living, so, unlike Firewalk Studios, I have to go to work and make some video games for people.
The fucking... Oh, the mic drop. I didn't realize that his video was only a minute and a half. I didn't watch it. I assumed it was probably only like 5 minutes or so. But yeah. Mic drop right there. So I'm not going to go on too much longer. I've said all I need to say. He said all he needs to say. This, as he said, is what happens when you make a game based off of pronouns, when you hire people based off of pronouns, and you neglect actual talent and skill. You neglect what makes video games great. If Sony continues to go in this direction, Sony will collapse. They just will. Sony will fold, and Sony will be lost to the annals of time. Sony, you need to pay attention. You need to set aside your priority of mobile games and live services and go back to what made you great. Making good video games and hiring people based off of skill and talent. Thank you all for coming to my corner. I have been the DM. If you liked the video, hit like, hit subscribe. If you didn't, hit dislike, leave a comment, let me know why. I'll see you all later.